Everybody, we are back, and it's Monday night. We're gonna play some VF, do some sparring. We'll see. We'll see what we're gonna do today. But I hope the audio is going well. So if the audio is going well, please let me know. If it's not going well, let me know again. I'm gonna double check. But yeah, it's been a bit. I haven't been able to stream much the last 2 weeks, so I'm really happy to be streaming tonight. Last night, got back from Sakura-con. I took my daughter to Sakura-con, and I was also able to compete in the tournament at Sakura-con, and was really happy to take the whole thing. It was a lot of fun. Right now, Diza has been streaming. I'm gonna run an ad while I double check on their stream, and they're gonna. I'm gonna double check on things. We're gonna watch some matches though.
Round one. Ready, go!
What's going on Diza's stream right now?
Knockout. Round two. Ready, go!
Anyways, right now, we're looking at where's Bruce fighting with MF Diva. Very cool. I do like that Diza is sparring with Ufta, and they were sparring with Ray Blade earlier. Alright, so Bruce here is doing some playing here. Setting up, seeing like how we play with it.
Knockout.
Diza is the type of player who can be critical of themselves, but they're honestly playing very well. They really, really well. Probably not what they want to hear. It's just they got a good competitive drive, and they're actually a very skilled player. So I think they tend to be hard on themselves. That said, when I watch them play, I think they're playing very strong, and I do see improvements in them. I used to think that their game was not was more defense oriented, but maybe that was just against me. But when I watch them play against others, it looks like they go for a little bit more. So earlier today I would say that they were losing, they were trying to lose less and not win more. I can't really say that after watching the way they played tonight. The way they played against Ray and the way they played against Oof. A lot of fun. Let's see what this Kage player is doing, because it looks like they're kind of playing around, but this Aoi is quite good and cool-headed.
Knockout.
I think the room is 4444. Let's join their room. Alright, let's warm up with some Leon. But VF is a game that has some brutal plateaus when you hit them, or at least the growth spurts can be kind of tough. Part of it's because this is a very integrated game. You gotta fight what your opponent's doing. Your opponent's not always gonna do the same thing. You're gonna see yourself improve certain matchups, but that can cost you other matchups, because whatever you're doing to beat one matchup, it's gonna it can lose to another. So you need to be very dynamic in this game, like a lot, like really, really dynamic. And so when you see yourself improve, you might be improving on one end, but if you're not making those adjustments against what the adjustments to the play, if you just play the same way, you're gonna lose. Also, if your opponent catches on how to beat that. So see how that does. Okay, we got Ray Blade. Let's see what Ray Blade's Leon is doing. I wasn't watching it on the stream, so this should be a lot of fun. Ray is a strong player though, so I could very easily lose this. He likes to crush. That makes the Leon match go a little unstable.
Round two. Ready, go!
Very good. He's gonna go for his range low.
Knockout! Round three. Ready, go!
Very good. I see. So right now I'm doing things late. Like I know that he's gonna go low,
Excellent!
and I want to 8K, and both times I did it late. So we're just gonna remember that we're on a connection with the white. There's a slight delay. It's nothing major. It's very minor.
Ready, go!
But okay, but we are playing on 5 frame delay. That explains a lot. Let's see. Very good.
Knockout!
Very good. He's really waiting on a lot of stuff. He's just playing very slow, and that's okay. That's good. It's gonna punish me for doing what I'm
Round
doing.
five.
I'm rushing a bit, so.
Ready, go!
Good. He's just gonna go low peck. Alright. He's just gonna do it again.
Knockout!
Okay. So again, the delay. I tried the 8K this throw attempt, and I was too slow again. That's okay. It's good getting back into VF and doing this, but if we're playing the delay game, I'm losing on it tonight because I'm just a bit slow. But I'll get used to it. I was playing offline all weekend, and it's not much, but we are playing 5 delay to make sure that we have a good, readable situation. So it's really good. It's really good. It's a good way to be back on.
Round one.
Good way to be back on online.
Go! Knockout! Round two. Ready, go!
But yeah, we'll get used to this speed. It's not hard. It's just surprised me that like 8K was coming out late. But we'll get there.
Knockout! Round three.
Just have to commit to a read a little more. Let's see. Oh, that was combo 2. But 5 frame delay feels great in this game. It really does. I just gotta get used to like that I need to not wait to like the last moment and not wait for like a visual.
Knockout! What a knucklehead!
Alright. Alright, these let's do it. Let's watch. This goes.
Round one. Ready?
I'm actually
go!
not seeing my own stream, so these are popping up actually. Okay, hey. Okay, Springwalks, good to see you. Hope you've been doing really good. Sorry I missed your message. I was watching on my setup. I wasn't putting on both displays. I don't have a two display set up yet. I will later.
Knockout.
It is good that Ray's playing more thoughtful VF. He likes to run fuel usually, but lately he's playing both. He's improved his defense so much, but he's also been playing much more patient one. So I thought it was really good. I really like what I see from Ray's VF. Let's see. But for the record, we're both setting it to 5 frame delay. I put mine on 5 frame delay so that if somebody wants to play on that, that's what we'll play on. And then if they want to play on shorter delay, we'll do that. But I think 5 frame is about right for our connection because it's Hawaii to Oregon.
Round 4. Ready, go! Ring out!
Please.
See?
See what we can do tonight. This is a really nice way to get warmed back up. Alright, let's do it, Ray.
Round 1. Ready, go!
God, this is weird.
Knockout.
This delay is more than it sounds. It's not. It doesn't feel like a normal 5 frame delay.
Round 2.
Interesting stuff happening.
Ready, go! Knockout. Round 3. Ready, go!
Very good.
Knockout.
Very good.
Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout.
I gotta get used to this again. I'm picking some bad options too. It's okay. He's doing good. Let's
Round
do
5.
this.
Ready, go!
That was bad. That was really good. Good game. Good game,
I want a serious fight.
Ray. Hey. It can feel like every decision you feel is wrong, but the thing is, there's also ways to play where you defer the decision.
Ready, go!
So there's that. We should spar and do it, but even though right now I got to get used to this again. But it's going great. I mean, Ray's playing good. He's outsmarting me and stuff. But this game is definitely decision heavy, and that happens in decision-based games. This game will make you realize there's a lot of decisions to be made. Because in a lot of fighting games, there are decisions, but they're summed up, like they're bundled. So it's like one decision leading to like a big outcome, right? This one too, but this one can also end up when somebody really counters it, and it can end up being a lot of small decisions too, and that's where it's tough, right? Where when you start getting into these tight matches where people neutralize each other, it's a lot harder. So there's that. There is what I call negativity bias. So in negativity bias, the human brain tends to remember the negative events more than the positive ones. So whenever you feel like, oh, I always make a bad decision. Well, if that was true, you'd be losing perfect every time, right? If that's true, you wouldn't have won a round. And so, but there are times when you're going to lose every round because of various factors. Usually the decision making versus decision making. But doesn't mean that there's no good decisions in there. So it is tough. It can be tough to be patient with it, and it can be tough to work on it. This game can be brutal that way because it's like a brutal truth. But also everybody improves, right? You improve, your opponents improve. Sometimes if you were relying too much on a certain thing that was working for a while, suddenly a lot of people realize how to beat it, right? And in this game, everything has got multiple answers. Like, you can't cruise on one thing all the time. You can cruise on certain stuff, but you still got to do other things to make that thing always work. So it's never just that one thing.
Knockout.
Well, random brain dead can work because it's hard to read, right? But then if you do it long enough, somebody will figure out how to just kind of avoid the random stuff you're going for. So there's that too. It is dealing with a lot of variance. And so, yeah, there's that too. I will say this, the more thought, sometimes you do got to let yourself go a bit in this game, because that allows you to relax and allows you to flow a bit better. And sometimes you got to learn to trust your subconscious too. But you can't just do just that, right? If you just do that, then you're predictable in another way. But if you're predictable and being thoughtful, that's another trouble. Predictability is your enemy in this game. When you fight a good opponent, then it's the predictability that will get attacked. And so it's like, this is why I don't like, I mean, everybody wants to use the turns paradigm, I know. And I know I'm an outlier in saying that I don't really like the turns paradigm when it comes to Virtua Fighter. But if you look at most people who get frustrated, it's because of the sense that their turn wasn't working. And I'm like, this is not really it's just decision versus decision. And so sometimes that so it's like when you become obsessed with turn stealing, it becomes more obvious which path you're going on too. Just as much as you wanting people to respect your turns gets also readable, you know. It's because instead of isolating it as just separate decisions, you're thinking it too much in terms of what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And then when you feel people steal your turn, that causes you to tilt. So this is why I don't like the turns paradigm in VF, is because people get into this loop of like, well, this should work, but it's not working. Well, now I'm going to do what doesn't work, what they're doing. And then you tilt. It's like the other kind of tilt. So it's like being stubborn about like, things should, like, you should defend this case. Why are you not defending? And then it goes in reverse on you. And it becomes a little easier to read because you can kind of sense, a player like me can actually sense to a degree when somebody's caring more or caring less and is like starting to slow down because they're focusing or trying really hard to speed through the match. And I'll try, if I'm sharp, I'll try to respond to it.
Knockout.
Yeah, so Mech, you kind of, I think you understand what I'm saying, right? I think you get what I'm trying to talk about, and also why. It's not that, like, I think turns is a nice paradigm to kind of learn and organize some stuff, but I think at some point it becomes too much of what you pivot on, and it becomes a tilting factor instead of just a straight analysis of what's really going on. Okay, the game volume's loud. I'll double check that. That is weird. Normally it's not like that. So, let me see. The microphone is set loud, so that's interesting. You turn that is it better when I turn that volume off? When I turn the other stream's volume off. Maybe that was causing it. Okay, so it was just basically because the mic was trying to pick up multiple volume sources. Alright. So that should be better, good. Glad to hear that's better. Alright, Ray is on a tear, so this is awesome. Gonna have a lot of fun fighting against Ray's Leon. Ray's Leon right now is just doing lots and lots of like low. Alright, thanks a lot, Diza, for the session. I really appreciate it. We are getting used to this. This connection feels, a little slightly slower than PlayStation Network, but it's still good, as far as I can tell. I haven't been playing online for like many days, so I don't know. But I'll go on the guessing more. Good, backdash. Good. Neutral throw. That was good. Alright. It feels good. It feels good.
Ready, go! Knockout.
I do like that Ray's been slowing himself down, though. It's a very good thing to do.
Ready, go! Knockout. Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout.
Okay, good meeting. The low is a good meeting here. I'm just gonna play a little more volatile. Let's try to loosen up and get used to this game.
Ready, go!
Good, wait.
Knockout.
Alright, that was an intense game. It was an intense game. Thank you very much for that game, Ray. Alright, so insane.
See? I thought I'm better.
Thank you very much for the raid, Dizo. Thanks a lot for setting up this room. Really appreciate you a lot. We'll have to spar again soon. Hey, Ray. Very good game. Let's see. Yeah, it's good to be back on VF. It's been a couple weeks, you know.
Ready, go!
I almost forgot which Leon I was. Very nice. I like that stance switch. Let's get sharp on this again. Okay, let's see if we can get sharp.
Ready, go!
I like that.
Knockout.
I like that whole sequence right there. Completely was mixing up the half circles, and I liked it. So,
Round three.
let's see how we do it.
Ready, go!
Very good. Very good.
Knockout.
That down punch cost him the round. The down attack cost it.
Round four. Ready, go! Knockout.
Alright, very good game, Oath.
See,
Oh,
I thought
I
I'm
missed some
better.
chats. No, I didn't. Okay. Hey, Bummy Rushy, good to see you. Thank you very much for stopping by here too. Are we world champs yet? We're not world champs. I don't know about that. But yeah, again, Kusana, so good to see you. Turbo, so good to see you.
Ready, go! Knockout.
So until you get comfortable with reacting. So right now I'm not comfortable with reacting, so I'm doing a little more force gas, right? Good. I like that backdash into that. I like his delay timing, actually.
Knockout. Round three. Ready, go! Knockout.
Good game. Oh, very good game, Oof, also. Sorry I missed your message there. I am really glad to see you. It's really good to be back. There will be dojo, the dojo sessions will return tomorrow night. So Tuesday night, we got dojo sessions. They will be back. It's been really busy the last 2 weeks. It was tax time for family members. I was doing taxes for family members, and then I was doing a lot of stuff for work.
Ready,
So.
go!
Yeah, I try to do them every Tuesday. It's just the last two, there was a family emergency 2 weeks ago, and then there was, and then last week there was tax time for different people.
Knockout.
So I do like that thing covers the back. So this stance, but that is a challenge to work with. That's okay.
Ready, go! Knockout.
There's a part of my hand that's hitting the ball top a little too hard.
Round
And,
4.
it's been bothering me for a few weeks.
Ready, go!
Good. That was good. Not quite the distance I needed.
Knockout.
Very good.
Round
All right,
5.
let's do this.
Ready, go! Excellent.
All right, good games, Riff. Good games. Diesel, I think your Jeffrey does a lot of good stuff. I take back what I said in the Discord earlier. Earlier in the Discord, I said that you lose less as opposed to win more. But when I was watching your matches with Ray and Oof, I saw you go for the damage. So you do go for the damage quite a bit. If there's something that maybe you don't, I don't know if you crouch dash forward much though. I think like having a forward defense more. I think you have it. I just think like it would be like, a lot of times your main way of going about things is to backdash, which is good. There's definitely good times to do it.
Knockout.
But if you're wondering why you might not be in position to do some stuff, there's that. But then Pi is a different one too. I like that. I like that too. But I think you do make good use of buttons. I think like Jeffrey's got some cool tools like 6PP. You punish with it. Very good.
Excellent.
So he's just gonna go lows. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with going lows. It's what it is. He's gonna try to set up uppercut eventually. But
Go! Knockout. Round 5. Ready, go!
that was nice.
Knockout.
Very good game. Very good game. So it goes mid-low, in the last round. It's very good. Very good. We'll play with that for a while.
I want a serious fight.
You could call it suggesting different style.
Round 1.
I don't think I lack in doing lows, but okay. But right now I'm just kind of warming up, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's lots of fun. Let's see here. And it's good stuff. I like your Leon. I like Oof's Leon a lot too.
Knockout. Round 2.
Akira is a very different. Okay, you're talking to Diesel about using different characters for different styles. Yeah, I mean Akira definitely is a different style, right? He's got forward-moving, heavy attacks that's really high speed, so he wins lots of neutral. He settles situations very quickly, which is probably what you meant by button character, because he doesn't use stream pressure, right? He can use backdash, but actually I use his backdash quite a bit. But he's more stronger moving forward for sure. It is true that Diesel likes to move backwards a bit more, right? And that's nothing wrong with it, because Jeffrey does have good ways of whiff punishing people that will attack him. So, and Diesel isn't like always backdashing. It's not like that at all. When they first played VF, or when Revo first came out, yes. It was like always back, because it was like what every Tekken player does when they're learning how to play VF, right? But no, but I do think that like the hard part is winning is sometimes that mid range and stuff like that. You know? Is that mid range can be a bit tough, and sometimes that's kind of the situation that I've seen Diesel kind of feel frustrated about. Was, you know, and then feeling like they have to win everything. Well, that is kind of the hard part about the thing about VF is, and I said it on my own stream earlier today, is that everything has got multiple answers for it. Like everything, almost everything, like more than 99% has multiple answers in this game. And because of that, you can feel wrong for doing a lot of stuff that generally works, right? As long as your opponent kind of does the thing that beats it. Right, and right now Ray Blade, you know, is just saying, hey, you're not blocking well. And I'm like, yeah, I want to beat it, but I'm a little too slow, I guess. But also, you have to respect meaties, right? And if he does the low as a meaty, well, you have to block it. There's no choice. If his timing is good on the meaty. I do think Diesel has kind of the right idea that there is that it's something more general about, you know, like I said, the main enemy in this game is predictability, right? That's the main thing that gets you in this game, and so I think that's where Diesel feels that no matter which character they use, something is more fun. Not that their fundamentals are bad, but that something fundamental is going on. Where they're losing. That was too much fun. That was too much fun to do.
Round 2. Ready, go!
My time is here.
Excellent! Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout!
I do think learning a new character does expand. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that too. And I do think getting a breath of fresh air is always nice. A lot of people like have a similar experience when they do it, right? Where they at first they think, oh my god, this is so amazing to have all these things that this character has. And then they start seeing the things that the character doesn't have, or that has less, and then they realize, oh, I could have done this more with my other character, that I kind of miss having that now. And then you start to kind of learn all the stuff in between. So it is really good. So it does give you more perspective, as Ray says, and it is something where you will see what you have and what you don't have.
Round one. Ready, go!
I see. Okay.
Knockout. Round two.
It's not so much that you, but we'll get into that later. But rotate, you're not really supposed to rotate like the jabs and elbows. You're just supposed to use them to win on speed and then set up damage with the stuff after them. But then after that, you're supposed to learn how to set up without them if you have to, because they can actually be attacked in their own way.
Knockout.
Yeah. But attack and throw is definitely huge. So, let's see. Turbo says, like, I can teach someone the basics of Street Fighter in 10 minutes. Pikru, space, yeah, fireball trap, yeah. Uppercut, it's not going to take them to Evo, but it's a very basic way. What do you teach in VF? What's the strategy? I could talk about it, but probably it's harder to talk about when I'm fighting Ray and Oof. If I lose, I'll talk about it. So after I lose a game, I'll talk about it. When we teach VF, there's a few ways that I teach it, and I try to find the hook that works for the opponent, like for the person I'm teaching. Now in the Leon matchup is a little different, so. And the reason is because Leon can go quickly in the crush. Leon versus Leon gets quickly in the crush territory. Into like, you can elevate the risk or the reward. You can elevate the risk and reward. And so it gets a little crazier because Leon is good at crushing. And he does have good lows. And that means it goes into crush territory very quickly. Even though the easy, that's why elbow is important to learn, right? Elbow is like what stops it. Right, like right here. Elbow in the throw. Elbow into uppercut, right? And then elbow into, yeah. So basically elbow into attack or throw, right? Is really powerful. And elbow is what you do to just get someone to stop crushing. So it's like, boom, right? And then he backdash. Because elbow, the basic pokes are weak to backdash, right? And right now, Oof is also trying to force guessing game on the force side turn game, and they're doing a great job of it. So we will work on it, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun working on this. Very nice. I tried to guard, but I accidentally hit up to evade, and then I told myself that's not what I want to do, and I ended up hopping. It's really good. Good game. Alright, so I'll talk to Turbo about how we teach. So, okay, this is a hard one. Why do we talk about jab, elbow, why do we talk about high jab, low jab, elbow, and throw? Those are the building blocks of Virtua Fighter. It's how you construct it. It's how you win combat right away. Again, with Leon, it's a little weird when you do Leon versus Leon because he's going to like crush like low punch with 8K and beat throw with it. And then he's going to, if you do high punch, you do a low attack. So he goes crush versus crush. So that's why elbows are how you keep that stable. And that's why someone like Ray wants to keep pushing it into like a mid-low mix-up, I guess, because they're trying to get you to stop guarding high, because guarding high is very strong in this game. Because you can guard and throw escape and deal with like the mid threats and stuff like that. And then you can deal with a variety of stuff. But okay, those are just basic boxing tools though. The high jab is really good for winning on speed, but it's a high, and that's a problem in this game because it will lose to a crouching attack. Low punch will always beat high punch. Low punch is really good at stopping people that are mashing generally, and so I'll get into that. But it's good against people that are doing high attacks, right? And it's fast, but it's especially good at beating anybody that's mindlessly mashing. It is really good against mashing. And it's good because of what it gives you. It gives you enough advantage to do something better. So you're not supposed to low punch, and you're not supposed to low punch in the high punch, and you're not supposed to low punch in the elbow. You're supposed to actually get the advantage with the low punch and then do like an uppercut, or a good mid, or a good low even, or a good throw, right? That's what you're supposed to do with it. Same with the elbow. When you counter hit with the elbow or you crouch hit with the elbow, you're supposed to do that. And then high punch is a trickier one. High punch is like a jab in boxing. When your opponent blocks a high jab, you're +2. So this becomes an interesting situation where you have the advantage still. So if they have a tendency to like attack after every attack you do, they're gonna get out hit by an elbow or a jab or a low punch right away. But then when you start seeing that they like to defend more, they like to step or they like to guard, throw is really good against that. So again, you're playing a mini guessing game. It is more dynamic than that. It's not a force 2 choice, but you threaten with those things. So when they block your jab, you still have a little advantage to work with, and that's a very tricky situation. And so generally it means that your offensive options are better, and for them their defensive options are a little better because of that. Okay, but how do I actually teach somebody new to the game? The way I would normally teach it is I would talk about the beginner archetypes. What type of beginners are you likely to fight? I'll take a break. So when you fight a beginner in ranked, what are you going to run into? Well, the first archetype we're going to talk about is the Masher. And I told you the strategy against the Masher already. The Masher is hitting buttons. They're just hitting buttons a lot. They attack a lot. And in this game, the way it's designed, if you attack a lot, you're probably going to do a high attack, like most of the time when you mash. Doing mid attacks is a little more deliberate here. You got to hit a direction and a button at the same time. If you're mashing directions, you're doing strings, most of the time you're going to do a high attack. Maybe a low attack, but mostly a high attack. And because of that, low punch just wins against mashing. It'll win against throws, it'll win against attacks that are high, and it will outspeed a lot of stuff if it's done with an understanding of the situation. If your situational awareness is a little better than your opponent's, your low punch will probably win a lot. So, that's not the only way to beat a masher though. The proper way to beat a masher is to get advantage with that low punch. So they're mashing, you hit a low punch, you've just either interrupted them at best, or you probably just got a normal hit or a recovery hit. That's fine. And that's enough to give you the ability to force a guess there. If they were to guess, they needed to guess, okay, he just hit me with a low punch. Is he going to attack me, or is he going to throw me? And so the thing is generally you start as a beginner, you start with doing the attack option. And you do that for a number of reasons. One, because throwing doesn't work against mashers, right? Throwing is bad against mashers because attacks always beat throw in this game. So what you do is you do low punch into uppercut. You just do it. You just low punch, interrupt them, uppercut. That low punch gets you +4. That uppercut is probably 15 or 16 frames, which only needs a +4. And so your uppercut is going to launch them into a combo. So the way you beat the masher is you low punch, interrupt them, and then you do an uppercut right away. and it will give you the combo. This is much bigger than, this is like equivalent to getting the successful jump in combo in Street Fighter. You know, it's better than the Dragon Punch, right? Better than doing the Dragon Punch out of the air, unless you did like focus attack dash cancel in Street Fighter 4. So this is what you get. Against a masher, you do a low punch to interrupt them, and you launch them with an uppercut. It's not about the low punch, it's about using the low punch to set up that uppercut. And because your profile says, because you're saying, I think they're a masher, I think they're going to attack no matter what, then you definitely do the attack option after you get the advantage. Because when you have advantage, your attacks are better than their attacks. Because you're faster, you're attacking before them. So now you can use, you don't have to use the jab to win. After you've got the +4, you don't need a jab to win combat. You now are going to win combat with a mid attack. Why a mid attack? Because if you did low punch into like a low attack and they just hop kicked you, you'd lose. Because low attacks are crushable. Low attacks are weak to hop attacks. And then what about if you do like your high attack launcher? Well, if you did low punch in the high attack launcher, if they mash low punch, you'll still lose. Because high attacks lose to crouching attacks. So when you have advantage, one of the biggest principles of play in this game is when you have advantage, you want to use a mid attack if you can. You really do. Because that mid attack that's frame appropriate is going to beat almost every attack they could possibly do. And now they should not be attacking against that if that's what you're doing.
Round 3.
So mid attacks are strong, so whenever you have advantage, use a mid attack. When you fight a masher, use a low punch to get advantage and then attack them with a fast mid attack, because it will probably beat any possible attack they could do. It could beat almost anything they could possibly mash. You will destroy the masher by simply doing low punch into a counter hit launcher. That's the basic way to fight the masher. Then you fight the turtle. Turtle is easy. Turtle wants to defend and is just waiting for certain moments to attack. But in this game,
Knockout.
you don't want to just mindlessly guard in this game. I mean, you got to do guard throw escape, but even if you do guard throw escape, the defender defense loses to throws. So against the turtle, you just throw them. You just go in and you throw them. You force them to guess which throw you're gonna do. If they escape it, you mix up, change your throw to a different direction, to something that's escaped in a different way, and now you're doing a lot more. That's how you defeat the turtle, right? That's the beginner archetypes. The stronger, the higher level you get, though, the more that you have to apply these in small doses, right? Your opponent is going to start changing up. They're going to go from masher mode to turtle mode, and then YOLO mode. So let's talk about YOLO. YOLO is another one. YOLO player is the player who likes to sit back, wait for a moment, and go for a really big attack. They are likely to stand far away from you because they're counting on you to whiff. They're counting on your movement to tell them what time they should do this big ass attack. Okay, so here, how do we beat the YOLO player? We beat the YOLO player simply by understanding the rock, paper, scissors of the game. And let's repeat them. What defeats attack? Defense. Guard and evade are defense. That's what we use against attack. Doesn't matter. Big attack? Yeah, we use it against big attacks too. So the YOLO player, here's what we do. In Virtua Fighter, you can dash forward and you can guard cancel your forward dash. You cannot guard cancel back dash. So in this game, you want to move forward more. And you dash forward and you can still guard. So against the YOLO player, move forward and guard. Just dash into their range, and then they're like, ooh, I'm going to do my big attack. And all you have to do is block that big attack. And you generally, now this does require some thinking here now. When you block that big attack, you want to see what they do. Does this YOLO player, after I block their big attack, which they did not expect, are they going to defend? That's actually the more likely answer. But sometimes, they will actually try to attack or even throw. And we'll call that mashing. So if I block their big attack, do they mash or do they defend? If they defend, you throw them. And you keep doing that pattern until they break that pattern. And if when you block their YOLO attack, they mash, oh, you do attack, because here's the thing, when you block a big attack, you're probably +8. You're like huge advantage. And so when they mash, like, even if they mash their fastest attack, you will probably launch them with the combo starter. So yeah, free counter hit. So you got to make that decision. You got to watch what they do and then go, you know what? Next time I block that, I know what I'm going to do. And of course, could they mix up? Yes. Yeah. In this game, people change up all the time. So you're going to get there. But we're talking about in isolation. But the core decision making is all in these 3 archetypes. The higher level you go, it becomes more of, okay, how much does this guy turtle? How much does this guy mash? And how much does this guy YOLO? And YOLO has a place in this game. Mainly, I mean, it gets complicated, but it's because of sidestep. Because of the way sidestep works, because of the way throw works, right? If I predict that you're going to throw me, so this goes back in, and then, you know, this is when we get to intermediate. So as we get past that, like as we understand how we fight these beginner archetypes, these newbie archetypes, right? We can start isolating the decision making into, when I have advantage, like if I hit somebody, I want to know, I just have to ask myself one question. Is this person going to mash, which we've established as attack or throw, or are they going to defend? Now, generally they should defend, but it doesn't mean that's what they do. You got to watch what they do. Rayblade punished me for not defending, right? So if they don't defend, if they mash, well, you have advantage, so use your attack. But if they defend, and a lot of fighting game players defend, so you got to watch for this. If they defend, you throw them. You make them have to guess correctly to escape throw. Even if they escape your throw, that is still, you successfully threw though. They just happen to do the escape. You want to have that mindset about it, because actually when they escape your throw, you can, it's still a fighting situation. You shouldn't give up, right? When you throw, the thing you're afraid of is not the throw escape. The thing you're afraid of when you throw someone is them doing a launcher and punishing you. Because that's actually what if you want to understand, okay, so Tekken, I know Tekken players wish that they could react to throws and tech like they do in Tekken. Well, put it this way, you can still hit a button and punish somebody for throwing. It's hard to react, it's 10 frames. But if you realize last second, oh, they're going for the throw, and you do a launcher, you will still launch them in this game. So the real answer to throw, if you know for sure they're going to throw. When you don't know, you do a technique called guard throw escape, because you're covering your bases. I don't really know what they're going to do. So I'm going to guard, and I'm going to escape a set of their throws. But if I know this guy always throws me in this situation, they always go for a throw. In this exact situation, you do a launcher in this game. That's how you punish somebody for throwing. And in that sense, that's not too different from Tekken, right? You hit a button. But yeah. So anyways, I hope that made a lot of sense. That's kind of generally the structure that I teach VF. But that said, a lot of times when teaching somebody new VF, it is teaching the mechanics. It's teaching how it feels to control, where like, and why it would feel better to do certain things in a certain way, like forward dash or crouch dash, where to guard. The evade system is less than intuitive, but it's an amazing system. And so I try to teach it when I see the player's ready for it. But if the player is stuck at the very core basics, I might not go into it that day. But I might go into it within a week. Because evades are really important in this game. But they have to kind of understand that defense and attack flow before they understand evading in this game. But evading's huge. So, anyways, I hope that helped. Let me catch up on what people said. Let's see here. And that was to kind of respond to Turbo's question.
Round one. Ready,
Hey Gruff, nice to see you. Welcome to my Twitch channel. Hope you're enjoying your time here. Okay, so Kusano said, then you encounter characters who can crush your elbows or 2P. Yeah, so this is interesting, right? So what do? Well, okay, if you do elbow, that's going to beat the thing that crushes the 2P. Generally, that's how that works. But also high jab, because high jab will be fast, right? A lot of times when people crush your 2P, they're using something slow. And it's going to definitely lose to high punch, and it will probably lose to elbow. So I'm just going to say that. And just hitting them out of the air will probably give you a combo opportunity. So, crush has risk. Everything in this game has risk. Everything. So, a low crush, something that hops over a low attack, is probably not the fastest thing. And on top of that, they're in the air. So if it gets called out, they will probably get comboed. How about something that beats elbows? Usually, the only things that beat elbow usually is like evading, backdash, or sabaki attack, or a reversal. Now reversals lose to throws. Reversals is like a pari. Paris lose to throws. Okay, paris also lose to attacks that are not covered under that specific part. So you get to do there's a lot of things that will beat a pari. Paris are very risky to do. You got to do it against very predictable behavior. What about sabaki? Most things that sabaki and an elbow is probably slow or probably gives no reward if it's fast. So like Vanessa has stuff like that and it's fast, but it gives her almost no reward. So you don't even really care about it. You just keep fighting. You just understand that you might not just keep doing that elbow. Jean can really punish an elbow. Aoi can really punish an elbow. So you switch to kicks. You just simply switch to kicks. Or switch to low punch. Or switch to other stuff. But generally you just switch off elbow. And there's so many alternatives to elbow. This is where the highs and the lows become interesting too. Is against sabaki attacks. You know. Leon has like that 1K is absolutely good at destroying people trying to sabaki things that are not his low kick. So it's important to understand that dynamic. But if they're doing like reversals or paris, you throw them. Throwing is just strong, but you can also change up and it's also strong. As long as you know what pari they're doing.
Ready, go!
Yeah, VF is a very system game, so that's why we keep giving these system-wide answers. The extra moves all have their own flavor and uses, and they're so good in this game. But they are being used for these small details, like okay, this opponent's now trying to control me with these options. Now I know why I've got these other things. Now I know why I have a kick that functions very much like my uppercut. And so it's like, well, why does Leon have it? If you can do the uppercut, why not just do that? And it's like, well, if they're gonna pari your uppercut, if they found a way to beat your uppercut with an attack, it will probably lose to that kick.
Knockout. What a knucklehead.
Hey Gruff, yeah, password is 4444. I'll probably put that in there. Okay. Oh. Let me see. I can't put it in now, but I'll put it in after. Hey DJ Syrup, it's so good to see you.
Round one. Ready, go!
That was not fun.
Knockout.
Thank you for the raid, by the way, Emperor Pain. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone in here today.
Ready, go!
I'm actually shocked that we've got 22 people at this time. Yeah, throw beats evade and guard. It beats defense in general. That's correct. So, from what I understand, the basic rule is throw beats evade, evade beat attack, and attack beats throw. You basically have to make your decision centered around that knowledge. Yeah, you definitely want to play the rock, paper, scissors. There's, of course, layered defense, so sucks. And against Ray, we'll probably switch up characters too. But, like, yeah, so you do want to do option select defense after a while to kind of, like, guide it more. But yes, 100%. Very good. Oh, I thought I ducked this. This was really good. It's very good.
Knockout.
Very good.
Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout. Round 3. Ready, go!
I like that. I like that a lot. That was so cool. So something I like about what Ray's playing, Ray has gotten used to, is starting to play a lot. Or what I'm realizing is how much Ray is playing the no attack style, which is really important.
Go! Ring out. Round 5. Ready, go!
My time is here.
Knockout.
Thanks for the battle, Ray.
See? I thought I'm better.
All right, Gruff, here we go. Yeah, we can probably make a larger room. We'll make a larger room soon. It'll be fun.
Round 1. Ready, go!
Nice. I like a lot of what they're doing already.
Knockout.
Okay.
Round 2. Ready, go!
All right, let's see what you got, Gruff. I like that.
Knockout.
Leon's uppercut is very cheap.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Very nice. that. I like that too.
Knockout.
Very nice. Keep it up, girl. Keep it up.
Round 4. Ready, go!
Nice.
Knockout.
Very nice. All right, it's really fun. I like the subways. All right, let's do it.
Round 5. Ready, go!
Very good choice. I'm gonna get killed here. Oh, this is gonna be good. That was really fun, Gruff. Very good game. Thanks for the game. Thanks for the battle.
I want a serious
Hey,
fight.
Cruz, good to see you. Blurring, good to see you. How do you deal with Brad? Oh, Brad's more defense. Depends on the Brad.
Ring out.
Generally, it's good to understand though that Brad is a more defensive-oriented character. He can punish you for barring, evade to his backside. Generally, very nice. Very nice. Brad is privileged. No, I don't think Brad is privileged actually.
Ready, go! Knockout. Round 4. Ready, go!
Nice.
Knockout.
Very nice.
Round 5. Ready, go! Ring out.
That was a really fun battle.
I want a serious fight.
I think with Brad, it helps to have a keep away game. But it's also important to understand he's good. He's pretty good at whiff punishing at close range. So you gotta like not be too loose. You need to push him without.
Ready, go! Knockout. Ready?
I gotta switch characters after this. Okay.
Knockout.
Very nice. The last ring out, you just need the tech roll.
Ready? Go.
And I'm rushing a bit.
Knockout.
Very nice. Alright. There you go.
Round 4. Ready? Go. Knockout. Round 5. Ready? Go. Knockout.
Alright, good game, Ray. That was a lot of fun.
Better run home to Mama now.
Gruff, don't worry about it. You're doing fine. Just keep it up. Worry. Just keep playing, keep on sparring. Hey, LD Wells, good to see you. This is a nice casual night tonight. It's a very nice casual night.
Round 1.
Probably need to get a drink in a second. So Springlog says, has a good question. Says, but what about the unspoken truth? How do you fight against someone 10 plus years experience with VR? I'm not sure it's realistically possible. It is realistically possible. Unless you are a protege. I mean, talent's going to have a role, but still,
Round 2.
there's a lot of people that have the potential to do it. You know, a strong player can come from anywhere. That's true for anything. Strong cook can come from anywhere too. So, but of course, some things will have to click, make sense, and work out for someone. Sometimes there's a mindset thing, but there is a lot of things that do really work, and it's about how to apply them. But you know, we're seeing a lot of strong players come up that are really strong. That some didn't play fighting games, but some have. I was, you know, a lot of us strong players were strong when we first came in, but some of us strong later. It wasn't because of the 10 plus years. It was something else. So I'm not going to say that it's the 10 plus years does add some expertise and some refinement. It does. But there definitely have been players that have had less experience become as strong as the players. GT seemingly came out of nowhere, but it was it was just a few year process, right? But it wasn't like an insane amount of years. Denkai also kind of felt like they came out of nowhere when they came out. So, you know, when Denkai was strong when I first met Denkai. GT was already really strong by the time I first met GT. Adam was really, really strong when Virtua Fighter 3 was a new game. It wasn't that he's strong because he's 10 plus years. It might be that he stuck 10 plus years because he loves the game and he happens to be good at it too. But there's a lot of players that are not as strong that have stuck with the game. So I think sometimes you're dealing with a filtering thing where you're dealing with the hardcore players when they're 10 plus years. And they might be hardcore because they love the game, and that might not be related to their strength, but they could be veterans because they are strong. And so they stuck with the game, right? So I think that's a misconception, and I think it's definitely a misconception. I meet new players every generation that become really strong in the newer generation. I do, every time. Do I meet players that don't get strong? Absolutely. And I do meet players that come back 10 years later and become strong. I meet those too. So my experience hasn't really shown much correlation, or at least much causation. Maybe some correlation, okay, a little bit. But my experience has not shown causation, that because you're 10 years, you're strong. I think that's only a young person's way of thinking about it. I think when you get old enough, you've become good enough at enough things that you start to see that some people just got better at different things and good at different things. And also, sometimes you see someone who wasn't that good become very good. That's happened too. So it's not even an unspoken rule. It's something that's like someone with a lot of experience just kind of scoffs at. Depends on the culture though. Some cultures are more prone to believing that someone's just strong right away. And so it's not because of the 10 plus years. They just might tend to think that this person, it's hard for them to see that person get strong. But I've seen the weak player get strong. I definitely have. Is it as probable? Kinda. I mean, everyone starts from somewhere. Everyone does.
Round 5.
You know.
Ready?
So, I just haven't seen it really like that. That's the reason. But it is true that I love this game and that I have always tried to get better at it. But you know, a lot of my notes, a lot of the advice given to me in 2000 is the same advice somebody could give to me right now. If I'm being honest.
Knockout.
I didn't get a drink. Oh, water lily. I see.
Try again. in a
You
few
guys are funny.
years.
Yeah, I would say don't get discouraged, right? I'll queue myself last again, and then I'll change character. Let's see. I know that Ray's complained before when I played like Leon too long, so we'll have fun. I know he's playing different characters, so I'm like, sure, I'll do it too. So, anyways, yeah, this game actually. Here's the thing. I've taught a lot of people Virtua Fighter, and here's what I will tell you: the players that didn't play a fighting game sometimes understand Virtua Fighter faster than the players who did play a fighting game, and that's only because a lot of times when people learn Virtua Fighter coming from another fighting game, there is this really attractive idea that that's automatically going to make them a better Virtua Fighter player, and sometimes it's true, but the thing is the problem is a lot of times they're trying to play Virtua Fighter the way they play their other fighting. So like Tekken players will definitely try to play Virtua Fighter like Tekken. It makes sense to do that, but it sometimes gets in the way of them learning the core fundamental, right? If we talk about low punch in Virtua Fighter, low punch is really good in Virtua Fighter. It's actually why a lot of things play out the way they do in the game. In Tekken, it's not that they're terrible, but in Tekken, there's a lot of things that will punish you for doing a low punch. There's two system-wide things, right? Hop kick is going to beat low punch, and low parry is going to beat low punch, and both of them are going to really punish you, right? And so in Tekken, the problem then becomes, well, if you're going to do a low attack, it might as well be a really good one. And then low punch only has a very narrow purpose then. And that narrow purpose in Tekken is basically to stop a string, right? Because maybe some other low is not going to do it.
Round 4.
So in Tekken you have this big challenge now, and low punch becomes kind of bad as a result. Virtua Fighter low punch is really good. It stops all the high attacks really quickly, efficiently. It's a little harder to punish. Yes, it's weak to getting crushed by a hop kick, but if you block it, if your opponent blocks your low punch, you're generally fine. If they evade your low punch, you're still mostly okay. You might get a little punished depending on how early it was evaded. But low punch is very good in Virtua Fighter. And because of that, it is fundamental. Because it stops strings. Now the power to stop strings is good. In Tekken, it's that whole threat, like it's a combination of the threat that like doing a low punch can get crushed the same way doing any other low can, and lead to you getting comboed so badly. And that this is like the normal way to play. On top of that, so then if you're going to do a low, do a good one, which means do a slow low attack. Okay. Now here's the problem with the slow low attack is that's going to lose to the mid that's a little faster. And so now the mids are doing better. And then the mids have to deal with, and then so it's also like why is the high jabs, especially the 1-2 and the 1-1s, why are they so strong in Tekken? And that's because of how good the mids are, and because the way the game's structured, those mids are going to beat those slow lows, right? So now you're using the 1-1 and the 1-2 to beat the mid attacks, you know, in the neutral. So it's kind of like that's just how it ends up playing after a while, I think. And because of that, that's why low punch is not so good in Tekken. Because if you're gonna do a low, you might as well do something like you might as well do a good low, right? But in Virtua Fighter, that low is going to stop them, and they have to make a decision on their defense. They have to make a decision with their disadvantage. Like, am I gonna defend? But he might throw me. So if he throws me, should I just launch him? You have a reason to launch in Virtua Fighter. Tekken, you don't really have that reason to launch. It's not really a good idea to try to launch when you're that minus. But in Virtua Fighter, even when you're -9, launching can be a really good option if you know in your bones your opponent's going to throw you right now. And why were they going to throw you? Because throwing is good against defense. That's why. So that's why a common play is like you do a rising attack, or like you block someone's rising attack and they're probably going to guard or evade, so you throw them. It's a really strong play, you know? But then now that's why then the other guy goes, oh, this guy does this. Okay, I'm going to do rising attack. He's going to block it. I'm going to launch. Right? And that's a good play. Not a good play in Tekken. I get in a similar type of frame situation, but in Virtua Fighter it's a very good play because of how good throw is in this game.
Try again in a few years.
So, okay. Sorry, I'm having too much fun chatting, so we're gonna take a break. Was the TNS top 8 pretty much the people that everyone expected? To a degree, yes, but you know, a lot of the new talent is really strong and scary. Some of them have some stuff, but they fought really hard. Do we think that those top 8 players fought any less hard? They did not fight any less hard. They fought insanely hard. They used all their experience, right? But there is new generation players did very well too. They were not in the top 8, but they were very, very well. Some might be, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that they've learned as well. So, you know, look, knowledge does grow, and this game is not like it's proof that this game that a 50-year-old can be really strong in this game. So. There's that too, that they maintain their strength, right? But it's not because they're old. But experience does matter. And expertise does matter, but you can definitely get up there. And they definitely, this tournament, it played that way, but it doesn't play that way in every tournament. A lot of veterans get beat up by newer generation players in other tournaments. Frosty Frosties that happen too. So, and then in the case of Himajan, it's a little different. That is a difference in like what environment you grew up in and how the fundamentals are taught in that culture. And that Virtua Fighter is really, really popular in Japan, or has been in the arcade era. So the Japan thing is going to be, yeah, there's definitely going to be, but it's also that Himajan is not just any Japanese player. He's not in the highest tier of Japanese players, but he is really in the super competitive tier that's just barely below that. So he can still take down top tier players. But yes, the people in the top 8 are monster players. They are ridiculously strong players. You know. But I would say also, if the game didn't reward experience and didn't reward skill and didn't reward like getting better, do you really want to get better in that game? Right? That's another way to flip the question, right? But there is a way to. There is always ways. There's always young players, young fighters, young athletes who are very strong and represent a new wave of strong players in like every great game or great competitive pursuit, a great test of skill.
For me.
By the way, welcome Flower of Salt. It's really nice to have you here. That said, I will say some things though. So when we're talking about the newer generation of players, some of them already understand this, so they're already on the path. But some of the things that you do gain from experience in this game that some of the older players know kind of do a little better than maybe newer generation is when you're getting into a new fighting game or you're new to a fighting game, it's very likely you're gonna think that ranked is the best way to play, and you're gonna take that rank to mean a lot more than it does. You're not going to look at the context. You'll look at it with some players. So I think a lot of players know that, you know, don't judge me. I think a lot of players know that it would be a little crazy to judge me by my rank because I don't play ranked much anymore. But also that I'm a lot, you know, they know that I'm very strong. Or at least I think they. Some people don't because some people are like, oh, you're a teacher, you might not be strong. And it's like, oh, I'm very strong. But that said, yeah, the resources for learning now are so much better than they used to be. But anyways, the thing that veterans kind of know though is that this game, especially, and it's harder to see in Final Showdown and Evo, is that to get really better, you really should be playing long set battles, and that's not in rank, right? You should get sparring partners. That's why every time I do the dojo sessions, I'm always encouraging people to form bonds with other players, to add them to their friends list, and to have sparring partners, and to spar with sparring partners. That is how you get better in this game. That's how the top 8 is strong. That's how I'm strong. We play, like for us, playing 100 games in a night is really easy. It's not much at all. It's very little bit. We're used to playing these long battles. These long battles teach you a lot about VF. VF is very dynamic. So how is it that a veteran player can see, like, is aware of when you're making that change up? How did they predict it? How did they know to start playing in a certain way that was hard? And then when you made the adjustment, when you started catching on to what they're doing and you beat it, how come that wasn't enough? Why did they change up after that? It's because you play long set battles, you start to see this. If you play more long set battles, you will see the directions the fights go. And you'll start to see the signs that your opponent is playing in a certain way, and you're like, oh, this is what I should do. Right? Short set battles, you can win tactically. Long set battles, there is a strategy. There's also, in this game, when your opponent plays in a way that beats certain things, other things get opened up. So everything has an answer in this game, and that means that when you find a counter strategy, there's a counter to your counter strategy. And so it's up to you to see if your opponent is starting to do it or not. And if they start to do it, you either move or you make a bet on them not moving, but they're probably gonna move. And that's where the experience is much. That's the thing that, like, if you just grind ranked, it's really, really hard to see this because you're gonna change opponents every 3 games or 2 games. When you play somebody for 50 games straight, you will see a lot of this. You'll start to see a lot more of how the fight changed, the move list changed, what was good changed, what was bad changed. You see those, and that's something where that's a little harder to get the newer generation to understand for a bit until we do sparring sessions with them and stuff like that. Look, the reason I use League mode is not because I think it's the best way to train. I think it's the best way to get a group of people together and to train together to get broad experience, to get diverse experience. But they do need to still find time in their schedule to do some long set battles and then do some ranked as well. Ranked is great. Ranked keeps things fresh. Keeping things fresh is going to help you too, because you're going to see that there's just not this one way to start winning more. You've got to do other stuff to support it, because somebody coming in with a different play style is going to beat you up if you don't change the way you play. So this game is very dynamic. And that is something that's where what looks like a 10-year gap is coming from, is sometimes these players just trained a bit better. They have a deeper sense, but you can get that deeper sense within 2 years easily. You know, Paul 68 KDMD is a very strong Akira player. He only started. He was Tengu Man, insanely strong player also. Tengu Man only started like 4 years ago. So Paul, I think 3 years ago. So they're not 10 years, right? And they diligently study the game. They train. They use the training mode. They use all the tools. Some of the veteran players don't use the tools properly. Some of them are stubborn about it. They don't like doing that. They want to train the way they've always done, and that's fine. Whatever works for you. But I do see some of them start to train more too. It's good stuff. Yeah, DJ Surf said everything I was saying too. Yeah. But yeah, so Virtua Fighter is actually Virtua Fighter is a game that honestly can be learned fairly quickly. It's like the game of Go. It's actually, a lot of things are kind of simple and more straightforward, but if you ask too many questions in your head, it might be more confusing than it is. But then when you just play, after a while, you'll start to see some of the stuff. Now, some other stuff can be confusing, especially when you come from other fighting games, because the norms are a little different, you know? This game, you're minus so much in this game. Like, you hit them, you're still minus. And that's because this game wants to flow on like 1 to 2 moves, right? A lot of other games go like, oh, I got the hit in. Let's lock the other player down for a bit while we do our thing, and then they're gonna make a decision when you're done doing your thing. But Virtua Fighter, we're both always pretty active. Both players are always pretty active, and that's the part that makes it unintuitive for people coming from other fighting games. And that's why I kind of try to bring to attention my contradicting everybody talking about turns, right? Because I'm like, well, okay, but the people that tell me that they're frustrated and the people that tell me like it just feels like I can't do anything, a lot of times they're kind of fixated on the turns is what I found. That's kind of why I kind of clap back on it a little bit and say, well, this isn't really a turn-taking game because it's kind of always your turn. There's a good reason to attack, and that's because you think the guy's going to throw. And there's a good reason, and even when you're minus, okay, if the opponent starts doing offensive move a lot, throwing is not that bad. It's bad because somebody's likely to attack. But if they do offensive move whenever they're plus, suddenly throwing becomes a lot better. You know? And so there's a time and place for everything. Depends on what your opponent's doing. It always depends on what you're doing. So because of that, I'm like, it's not really turns. It's decisions. It's decision after decision after decision. Now, there's definitely a list of, this is the situation, these options are kind of bad or very unlikely to get results. unless we think the opponent's going to do this really certain thing. So that's more about applying knowledge and sense to the game. Right?
Knockout. Round 2. Ready, go!
Hey, Jimmy PKG. Sorry I missed you when you messaged. Jimmy PKG is a friend from Hong Kong, man. I hope we can meet again soon. But Jimmy, I hope you're going to EVO Japan. I really wish you could go there if you're not, but I hope you can go to EVO Japan.
Round 3. Ready,
Yeah, competitive people will naturally gravitate towards ranked. I mean, that is where it's rewarded, right? It's that competitive drive is rewarded in ranked, and in theory, it's supposed to be like that. So and serious veteran players do like ranked as well. We do. I'm just more. For me, my one is that I don't have as much time as I'd like to play, but two, I want to use that time to help build the game up more. I want to help build the community, and I do have avenues for my competitiveness. So I have been able to play in tournaments. I've been playing offline at least twice a week usually, and I play online twice a week usually. So it's still a lot, but that's that's the time I'm able to muster for VF. But the Tuesday nights, I am forsaking competitive focused nights because I want to get the community. I want the newer generation to enjoy the game. I want more people to love Virtua Fighter. And that helps me in the long run too, because that always gives me more sparring partners. I want newer players to get really good and to see they can get really good at VF. Why? Because that's better for me. Gives me more opponents to fight. It makes the scene better. It makes North American VF better, right? It's a lot of the old school players, well, now they don't have as much time. But some of them are just focused on their game. They're they don't have the time to give to focus on growing the game. I'm sacrificing some of that time, a lot of it, so that I can try to make the scene better. Trust me, I have not given up on my sense of how strong I am. I haven't given that up at all. I just had to prioritize and decide what was important to me. But I also still feel very confident about my strength level, and also about my still growing potential. But I also have to make family decisions for my family and decisions for work. So I try to toe that balance. Yeah, the reason people in lobbies though is because you eventually figure out why it becomes more important, and you start, and also because you control who you fight. You control who you fight. Now there's certain people that do play ranked a lot, but you'll see though that the really strong monster players, they're playing in lobbies, because the rank doesn't mean as much, but also people are gonna misunderstand it, and sometimes it's just because some of them are just older. It's just that way. They still like ranked, but at the same time, if they could possibly get rooms with fighting the best, that's where they know where they're going to grow and where they're going to be able to play the best VF and keep their VF being strong. Yeah, what Rayblade said is very true though. A lot of players are very shy, and that is also why I dedicate this time to trying to get players to meet each other. Players from 1 to 2 years ago could tell you that even on the Discord, when not many people were playing as much, right, I would do everything I could to help new players meet other new players, because I know that was really important. So I tried to fill in for any kind of void that existed on the matchmaking front, and trying to do like what I do now, which is to get more people to play more with each other, gain more experience. By the way, if somebody wants to join the room, I'm gonna put myself on spectator, because right now I'm just feeling like chilling and chatting, and I haven't even gotten moved down the messages much. But also, This is I'm enjoying this. So the passcode is 4444. So all fours. And I'll put that in there.
Ring out. Round 2. Ready, go.
Let me see what room we're in.
Knockout.
33552.
Round 3. Ready, go. Knockout.
All right, passcode's on the screen now. So let's see what they're saying here. But yeah, like Ray said, people are already shy to ask for matches. So sometimes players like Ray sets up locals a lot in Hawaii and does what he can to kind of get more people comfortable to play. And yeah, a lot of times I have to kind of coordinate and get people to play. Yeah, I feel that too. That's why I devote my time to doing that, to getting people to meet and play. Because those sparring partners going to be the best thing for you to get stronger. It's like, if you're telling me you want to get stronger at this game or have more fun playing it, that's the number one way. So, yeah, ranked is a good way to gain a lot of stuff. It is. I'm not discounting ranked. But it's good to have a balance, to have a mix. But also, if you only rely on ranked, there is going to be after the rank drop, or when you have those days where there's not much ranked, then you're gonna it's just gonna be hard for you to stick with the game. But if you build these, if you start meeting people that have, if you start finding sparring partners, there's two things that happen. One, you get a better experience. Two, they get a better experience, and because of that, it's more likely to stick, and you have an alternative to ranked. And you also can talk to each other about your ranked adventures as well. It's a lot of fun. So yeah. I will say that I do believe in the future they should just put, if they can develop bots that feel as fun to fight against as humans at the appropriate ranks, I do think they should just put bots in ranked, and they should make it something where it's kind of hard to tell, if possible, because I think that's a more engaging experience overall. I know the idea of everyone being human is very, very attractive, but a dead game is the worst thing. Or the sense that nobody's playing is the worst thing. And the thing is it could be a busy night and you could still feel like there wasn't many people to play because of all the coordination that has to happen for proper matchmaking. For you to have your ideal match, to have some people to have their ideal matches happening, that's a lot of things happening at the same time. That's it. You need critical mass to make good matchmaking. Not just a few of the best players. You just need a ton of players at all levels. So to fill in for that, bots, if they can be done well enough, bots can fill in that void and just make it a constantly active mode. And you wouldn't know, maybe. Hopefully it's good enough that you wouldn't know. But also that it's fun enough to play against that it wouldn't upset you. It wouldn't make you feel like it's impossible to move up ranked. Because you don't want the bots to be invincible. You just want them to fill in where the population can't. And I think only 2 games in each genre are able to be that always super busy game, unless it's something like auto chess or team fight tactics or something. And even then, you're relying on something a little able to do with more, right? Tetris 99 does a thing to try to help mitigate that too. Is there a way to see people you played last? Yes, in Steam you can. On your Steam interface, click on your profile, and there is somewhere, in either your profile or on a listing, there is players who recently played, and you can see those. You'll see the players you fought in ranked, and you will see the players you fought even in my dojo sessions on league mode. Yeah, it always takes extra steps. Like, community will always have a responsibility to keep getting community going. It's just people, and that's how it is. But I do like playing random people. Like I said, I'm not against it. I'm not against ranked mode, but I am trying to help people have better experience. Awesome. Let's see. Hey, Necromancy, I'm really glad to hear that Australia's weekly league nights have been awesome as well. I really love it. I'm glad to hear that you guys have been doing it and it's been working out well. Yeah, shooters have had bots for decades, I agree. The player names with random numbers are probably actually players. There are a couple players that I was wondering if they were bots on PlayStation, but I don't know if I've seen on PC, but I haven't played ranked much on PC. I do see people doing weird stuff on PC, but it's fine. See, is it numbers? That costume looks like numbers, but it's probably Ray. It is numbers. Yay, numbers is in the room. Numbers, it's so good to have you here. I hope you're doing well, and I'm glad that you're showing everybody stuff. Really good stuff. I'm going to get a drink, and I will be right back. I'm having a lot of fun with everyone, so thanks for listening to my soapbox. I hope it's okay for you. Tonight's just more of a casual night. I had a wonderful time, and I should talk about some stuff that happened, but I'll do that after the break.
Knockout. Round 2. Ready, go! Excellent! Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 1. Ready, go! Ring out! Round 2. Ready, go!
Man, I am so happy that numbers is in the room.
Round 3. Ready, go!
The weird stuff that I saw online, well, I mean, it's, you do see people that play with, like, macros, like program, and they usually are not good. So they don't know how to win the situation, but they just like you'll see. They'll just figure out, like, they'll program what the strongest combo is and just like hit a button to do that. And so you're like, okay, just don't lose to that, just don't get hit by that launcher. You know, and they'll have trouble winning. Some of them can get, obviously if they were capable they could smart to play that way, but I don't know if that would even be fun to play. But because it's so committed, right? That's so committed. You know, this game is very dynamic. You do want to hit confirm after a while, like a lot of things, or at least situation confirm. And so it's not like you want to automatically do a combo every time because you don't know if you're going to hit with the move. So, but it's funny. So Numbers, another amazing community member. Numbers, incredibly strong. Love their Leifei. Love the way that they always study the game very seriously, and I love how they share their process with everyone. They're always open about everything. Numbers is also a player who shares their knowledge. If you ask them, they'll give you an answer. And they're just happy to share the knowledge and help people get stronger too. But of course, because they also want strong opponents and they want to improve themselves, just like me. So it's like we all do. But it's in the VF community, we kind of know this. We know that like gatekeeping doesn't help. It doesn't help the scene, and it limits you ultimately. So it's one of those things where it's not helpful for us to think that way. So, I mean, some do. Some just want to win for glory. But some players really are trying to master the game. And they know that there's this bigger thing. They know that there's Japan looming. And it's like, hey, I want to be able to go to Japan and fight. Well, if I have that as my goal, then I want to get as good as I can. And I want to be forged by my competition. I want to fight, play. I want to help players around me be strong, so I can be strong, so I can be tested, and because I am confident that I can overcome it if I gain enough experience and if I train. You know, Virtua Fighter, I mean, that's kind of true for all fighting games, but that is the mentality of a lot of Virtua Fighter players, especially players outside Japan. But players in Japan, of course, it's the same. But it's that, but for players outside of Japan, we've had to deal with our game not being as popular as it is in Japan. And we've had to deal with having, you know, kind of persuading others to like what we like, to like our game. And I was been willing for, 25 years to travel across the country and beyond to meet other players to play. Same as Numbers. Yeah, there are some people who think small. They only think of their success in very small terms. Fortunately for me, a lot of, not everyone, but a lot of VF players have kind of a bigger idea, or a sense of what they want is something a little bigger, or at least something inspired by something bigger.
Round one. Ready, go!
I do want to give a shout out though that City of the Wolves has come out, and I'm glad that you've got Juicebox labbing it, and I know that City of the Wolves has got for the core community not the best enthusiasm going into the game, even though a year ago I think it was one of the most exciting things to see they were really working on this game. I really want it to be successful. I don't want it to be a non-success. I understand some people's objections to parts of it, but I think but I really cheer for its success. Just like 2XKO, I really want 2XKO to be successful. I think if 2XKO is successful, I do think it's better for the future of fighting games. Not because of... It doesn't have to be because of 2XKO's gameplay, but simply because of possible investments or the idea that fighting games are worth investing in. That's why I cheer for 2XKO's success. But also, there are a lot of really passionate people that are working on that game, just like on a lot of other games. But 2XKO is filled with a lot of very passionate people that are trying to make a great game. So I think at least give it a fair shot when the final product comes out. And yeah, is it going to take time? Sure, but you know, a lot of games I really like going to take time. And for the record, you know, it's possible that VF5 Revo was put out there as not just for the marketing of the next VF, but it could be that Sega might be taking more time on the next VF. If we think about the fact that we know they've been working on a Crazy Taxi World, on like a kind of a type of Crazy Taxi game, and we don't have much info on it still, even though it's one of the first games we know about. They're taking their time trying to get Crazy Taxi right. They might end up taking their time getting Virtua Fighter right. And I'm not against them doing that. I think it's really good if they... hopefully Virtua Fighter does come out, the new VF. Hopefully that comes out in like a year or a year and a half. But that game might be running on a longer production schedule if we're looking at games like Crazy Taxi. Right? But we'll see. Or the Jet Set Radio game, same thing. That one's another game that had been rumored for quite a while, so that's been in development. And maybe they're trying to take time on it, but we'll see. You know, a year and a half ago, we just said we just wanted Sega just to acknowledge publicly that a new Virtua Fighter game is coming out, and they have now. And they have. So we know they're working on it. And I know that, like, you can tell from the material, they're very serious about it. They're aiming big for this new VF game. So hopefully it comes soon. But we should be very patient about it. And again, I really love this game. And Final Showdown is definitely my favorite Virtua Fighter. But this game is so fresh and exciting. So let's keep at it. Let's keep enjoying it. Let's keep enjoying VF. Let's keep getting more people to understand VF at least, so that they can give it a better chance. And there are a lot of people just looking at our enthusiasm, but also, yeah, they are waiting for the next VF. It's true. But I think this game is giving us a lot to be excited about. I'm having so much fun playing this game.
Knockout.
I think, you know, Sega has always had really, like, modest expectations on stuff. So I think when we're talking about Legacy VF being any project related to the arcade style Virtua Fighter, I think when it comes to Legacy VF, I think they actually are pretty measured. And I know that this is going to be in contrast to how the community feels, but all the stuff that I've seen, to be honest, I think they've actually been pretty good on their assessment. Like, I think they've kind of expected the right things. I think they've been decently accurate on some of their on what they were expecting. And I think, like, I know that as players it doesn't feel that way. You're coming from a different angle, but if I was to look at it, I think a lot of the decisions that they've ultimately made, even though they're not my favorite decisions, have been extremely well reasoned and has been like yeah, that's probably very true, right? That said, there's going to be things that will always frustrate us about Sega, right? I'm under the impression that Sega does not want their community managers to be the type of community managers that we are used to as gamers, right? Because I've thought about it, because there's a part of me that would love to apply to be a community manager or some kind of PR role for Sega. I would love that. However, anybody that I've suspected of being in there have kind of seemed to fall silent, so they don't engage with the community. So then it's like, oh, well, I guess Sega has a way of, like, They don't want this role to be like. They don't want this role to be too communicative, back and forth. They want more of a mass market, mass media approach, meaning they put the information out there and then we distribute it, but it's not like they're going to hire someone to be the person who's always talking to the community, because when you do that, you do get the community trying to tell them what to do, and you do get the community really just making noise, sometimes for good reason, sometimes for more emotional reasons, sometimes because we're just waiting for the game, right? And sometimes it doesn't work out the best that way. A lot of things have changed in the role of what a community manager should do, and I think I've kind of been seeing that in different games too. And I think Sega has always been more of a, well, let's keep it low-key now, even though they traditionally had a really strong communicative team, especially in Europe. But even in North America, there were members that were communicative, but it was kept more low-key. And I think Sega just always works that way, just like Nintendo has its way of working too. And so I think one of those things is we're just probably never going to get that type of community management. And I don't know if I'd advocate that we should either, because a lot of communities that give a lot of two-way communication, especially from 2000s to 2010s, a lot of them suffered for it. A lot of times the community were very toxic to them. A lot of times it became like a Star Wars audience, and it became one of those things where it became negative publicity instead of positive, where the community became like it's a sword against the developers. So it's like, yeah, I can't blame them if they do, or if they're going to try to manage that.
Round 5. Ready, go!
Yeah, 100%. So what we can do though is I can talk as a community member that what I think community, like, we can always keep talking amongst ourselves about what we think about the game and what we like, dislike, and all that stuff. You know, VF does have a history, right? Like when VF5R was the arcade game, the VF community in the West really made a big stink on Sega's Facebook, and really like just flooded their wall, to which it changed their social media policy going forward. We remember it fondly. I don't think Sega remembers that thing fondly at all. Fortunately, they did do Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown.
Round 1.
And brought that to console, because we were railing that they were not bringing VF5R to console. So yeah, that was a funny moment. Yeah, if you see them put attention and money into the game, really try to support those events. It sounds, I know gamers can feel jaded about it, but it's like that's the actual investment going into trying to get to please you, the player. And then try to make something of that, you know. It does look, it goes both ways. Influencers, they want to be on a winning ticket. They don't want to feel like they waste their time on a game that doesn't have it, right? And so there are influencers right now that are waiting for the next VF. There's even VF players that are waiting for that before they jump back in, but that's because they might have family situations. They might have like situations where they got to bounce between work and family, and then it's like family wants them to do it when they feel like the audience is going to be that big new Virtua Fighter audience.
Ready, go!
So it goes for Sega that way. It goes for the influencers that way as well. But us as players get to do a lot. We're playing the game, we're having a blast, we're teaching new players, we're competing. There's a lot of tournaments going on. I've played so many tournaments just in my region in the last, over a year. And like I think I'm averaging 1.5 tournaments a month. I'm playing, I just played one at SakuraCon. I'm playing another. Fight Kingdom is a big one. I think we've pretty much hit the player cap at Fight Kingdom. Koen Raku's gonna be there. Dark Nova's gonna be there. Diesel's gonna be there. FC Racer will be there. R Panda will be there. Of course, I'll be there. J Thor, Sorias. I believe Zas will be there. Kamai's Oaken, I did reach out to them, and they had really thought about it, but they at the same time they didn't know about it until very late. So they said that if they had known sooner, they probably could have made it work. You know, it would have been awesome if I could have getting like Chow to go there, who's IU fanboy who played, who got top 8 in Tampa Never Sleeps. There's other players in the area too, so we've got a lot of good players. We got Devil Rays going there, you know, and I think Pericles will be there, and KDC, King Death Parade will be there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, so these are, I'm really excited for Fight Kingdom, and so yeah, in fact they did want to expand it even more. I think they were going to raise the player cap again. They were just 2-3 days ago. That's what they told me. But their deadline was yesterday. So, but I think Fight Kingdom is going to be awesome. I am running that with others. Let's see. Yeah, LD Well's going to be there. LD Well's been playing so good. LD Well's always a scary player, especially the more when he plays with confidence, it's actually very scary. Fight Kingdom is going to be in a week and a half. It's going to be in a week and a half, a week before EVO Japan. So, yeah, I wish I could have done EVO Japan. I really, really wanted to go to EVO Japan so bad. And then, what else? And then, of course, Combo Breaker 2 weeks after EVO Japan. Combo Breaker will be huge. We think Itazan, Fudo, and Chimpanzé will be at Combo Breaker. But we also expect a lot of America's best VF players to be at Combo Breaker. It's going to be an amazing tournament. So Fight Kingdom is, yeah, May 2nd to 4th. EVO Japan will be, I think, May 9th to 11th or 12th. And then Combo Breaker 2 weeks after that. So. Oh. It's the price of not teching, I guess. It's very scary.
Round 2.
Maybe that is a combo.
Ready, go! Excellent!
I will be going to bed soon, but
Ready,
let's see if Numbers is streaming. I don't see that they're streaming, but it would be cool.
Round 4. Ready, go!
If Numbers doesn't stream, I will probably raid Master Gaming, Master Genesis Gaming, which are like the best players, some of the very best players in Japan. Basically formed an organization, and you get to watch a lot on this channel. You get to watch so much amazing Breaker Fighter that I'll probably raid them. But I do want to watch some of these battles first and chat with the community a bit. So. Okay, numbers is at work. That makes sense. But thank you all very much for spending time with me tonight. I do want to stream a lot more, and but I am going to let myself rest tonight. This is a lot of fun. And Numbers, thank you very much. Rayblade, thank you very much. Oofta, thank you very much. And Gruff, thank you very much. This is all very, very fun. Let's watch this battle. Let's watch 2 more games. 3 more games. We'll watch 3 more games, and then I'll do a raid. Master Genesis Gaming is an amazing channel, though. You should follow it both on YouTube and on Twitch.
Ready, go!
I do think it did bring more players to the game, but of course it's not the same volume and all that. But it did bring a lot of attention to the game. But it did bring more people. It's just kind of just in different ways, you know. But I definitely have seen newer people get into VF actually. On the Discord you see it in conversation, and on both Discords and in other groups. So I honestly believe it has brought people into the game actually. I've just been too busy to be able to teach in the past couple since then. But I honestly think it did good work. And so, but it will keep taking more effort, but I do think it's bringing good positive attention to VF. I do hear like from organizers that I think they saw a bump in tournament registration numbers too. So, at least a little bit. I'm not saying a huge one, but it brought some. But I think that event definitely did raise profile and it did do its job. Yeah, so a lot of times the way that you see the signs, they're more subtle, but they're there when it happens. And so there's definitely been quite a few new players ever since that tournament. And so that happens usually too. And also the engagements on Twitter have been pretty decent after that event too. Like I got a lot of follows after that event, and I didn't play in that event because I was obligated and I gave priority to a nice local tournament that does every 2 months, and they do a solid job. But they definitely bring in people from different fighting games, and so for me it was really worth prioritizing that. But I did really want to play in Temp and Never Sleeps. I felt like I would have done pretty well, but I did not get to play that one. That's okay. But I'm really happy watching the matches, and I'm really happy watching how everyone played. And I do think VF presented itself so well in that tournament. I think Shidosha and Limey did amazing jobs as commentary. I think they're a fantastic commentary team. I think both have really pleasant voices and both know how to really think as commentators and also as players as well. So I really like their commentary a lot. I think they strike a very good balance on all the different things you need to do as a commentator.
Round 2. Ready, go!
That was really nice. Oof, you're playing really well. That round was very good, but keep it up, keep the fire up.
Round 3.
Don't drop it because I said that.
Go!
But honestly, I'm seeing such good stuff in here early on. But when you and I do when our uppercuts get guarded, both you and I could defend better in those situations.
Knockout. Round 5. Ready, go!
Oh no.
Knockout.
It's a good battle, but that throw attempt was an unfortunate choice. Maybe it was an accident when you were trying to guard throws or something, but that was just way too risky right there. Alright, last one, then we're gonna raid after this.
Round 1. Ready, go! Ring out.
This is a common finishing pattern by numbers lately too. He likes to ring out with a very clean half circular or full circular. It's a nice full circular tail press, but it's very secure situation. So.
Knockout. Round 3. Ready, go!
Let's see.
Knockout. Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout. Round 5. Ready, go!
Oh, I thought Ray was gonna. So close. Look at this.
Knockout.
That was an exciting battle. What a way. What a game. What a battle. Good game, both of you. That was fantastic. That was super. That was so much fun. Alright, we're going to raid. So now we're gonna raid Master Genesis Gaming. Please follow them. They do want more supporters on their Twitch. See if we can get everybody on there.
Round 2. Ready, go! Ring out!
Again, thank you everyone for tonight. I had a great time. This was just a nice, good resting night for me tonight. It's a lot of fun VF. Alright. So close. Can you feel it before I hit the raid button? Alright, that was exciting. Alright, everyone. Please do follow Master Genesis Gaming. Thank you all very much. You have a good night.